Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's AMA. We're quite pleased that the EVM has been launched. That's been something that the community and the team and everyone involved has been waiting for and looking forward to. So hats off to the devs, and it's a moment of celebration of sorts for the project. That's all been announced and publicized, etc. I mentioned that after the EVM, we were going to streamline and optimize some of the things that we do now that we have more time to put our attention on other things aside from the EVM, which was very important and an important milestone to reach. One of those changes will be in terms of communications. I'll dive into that a little bit more after Herman's update, but generally what we want to do is give you guys more concise information in a more brief and timely fashion. So instead of having the longer AMAs, which were useful and valuable, especially when we were discussing some of the more ephemeral and abstract and complex aspects of Cherry's development, now we're kind of more on the home straight, so to speak, towards full launch. It's not really a great use of our time, and it's not really a great use of your time either, to have to hear these kind of long-winded AMAs that are just kind of going into detail about things that could probably be better summarized by text. So from now on, we're going to move the weekly AMA to a more kind of stand-up format. For those of you who work in the tech industry, you'll be aware of what the principle behind a stand-up meeting is that long meetings are not really productive usually, and it's important to just get the important stuff across. And then if there's any more things that need to be delved into, they can be kind of discussed in different venues. So what that means is that in terms of my update and Herman's update, we're going to try and keep things very short, under 5 or 10 minutes each, I would say, going forward. We're not going to have devs coming in quite as often. We're not going to have weekly updates from Seedling and Cherish, because from the perspective of ecosystem projects, we're going to actually make the communication for those guys more standalone, so that you guys don't have to trawl through a big long AMA recap or recording to find the really important information. Aside from that, we're going to beef up and restart and reinvigorate our blog posting. And I'll also be continuing on with the Friday informal kind of office hours sessions where we just chat about things that might come up as we go along. That's a better system because it means that I can do that kind of on my own. We don't need to rely on Herman and other people taking time out of their busy schedules to go into the details. And we'll also be able to answer more questions that were raised on Wednesday in the Friday session as well. But what this means for right now is that Herman's going to talk to us in a more brief format. I'll do the same. We're not going to have Seedling or Cherish updates today, partly because Diego is in the Avalanche Summit in Barcelona, representing Cherry and Seedling actually. But we are still going to have the quiz, etc. So I'm going to finish up on that for the moment and hand you over to Herman, and he's going to give us an update as to what's going on with the core and strategic movement of the project.
Thank you, Owen. I'm looking forward to this new format. Sadly, it starts off with a lot of background noise on my end. We'll soldier through. Last week and the week since EVM launch have been thankfully uneventful. Nothing significant happened. We've now been going through the various reports community members have already submitted, as well as various improvements we were aware we would have made over time and iterate on, but that weren't necessary or prohibitive to the launch of the EMA. Of the EVM. that I think brings us to a point where the next intermediate step will be the launch of a indexer and explorer for the EVM, and right after that, the bug bounty that was already announced. So those of you who are more technical that have been able to fork the code and interact with the chain with the EVM with our documentation alone, without any additional tutorials or guides, props to you. Thank you. There have been a few that have been helping, but for the general bug bounty that will involve our wider community, hopefully, and help us either uncover or not, perhaps preferably uncover issues that we can then promptly fix. And over the introduction of the EVM on mainnet. I don't have exact timelines on that. I'd say give it a few hours, days. That's the order for the Indexer Explorer, which again will most be bulk standard and then perfected and adjusted to Cherry specifications over time. And then hours after that for the bug bounty to be announced. And that's simply a compilation of instructions as well as tutorials that reference the documentation that's already been online for weeks now and beefed up pretty much continuously over the past weeks to test out EVM functionality and how the various tools that we offered, either the Explorer or the additions to Trade.place, or okay, I won't mention that now. How that all works together to provide a sound and easy user experience. After that, we will be working on a substrate explorer, an indexer. We've been using this internally for many months now, but it would be advantageous to have one that's public. Trade.place, we're aware that has a fine interface and people can use it, but it doesn't really work that well to explore transaction histories in an indexed fashion to support queries such as what did I or how much did I transfer at that time on that block, or how many Cherry tokens did that account receive at this moment. Those questions are better answered by a database query, and database queries are best served by external interfaces, and we'll be publishing ours with a few minor adjustments, I'd say as a priority after the bug bounty is launched. Once that's done, the subsequent step will be to get everything onto mainnet, and we're looking forward to that. We are aware of the many trials and tribulations we'll probably have to face, and that's a good news. That's very good news. That'll mean that the community is still as active as ever, as it has been in a more technical form over the past few weeks, and we'll be one step closer to providing Cherry's core value, which is again storage, interoperability, etc., onto EVM compatible networks. And these are a bunch. I'd say like they capture maybe 98%, maybe 95% of the smart contract, DeFi, metaverse environment, and therefore bringing to market Cherry's value proposition. That's all. We won't accept questions. I asked, and I was asked by Owen that to further this new strategy, this new way of carrying out AMAs, to stick to updates to less than 5 minutes. Anything that I haven't said will be either supplemented by text or can be disclosed over time. We don't really have to focus too much information on these AMAs. This is more of an interaction, um, setting out the goals for the future, laying out laying our past achievements for everybody to be aware of, and as a sort of self-congratulatory thing, and also perhaps outlining various issues we're facing and keeping everybody up to date at the various adjustments and strategy and tactics and various decisions we might make as management of this project. Well, that's all. I'll hear from you all next Wednesday. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Herman. I think this is going to be a good format to go forward with. We are going to, of course, always be in contact with you guys, answering your questions. I think what we'll try and do is make the AMA aspect of these sessions asynchronous, as in we'll answer the questions beforehand, and then I'll pick some of them to just discuss after Herman has finished. So basically in the chat, Herman, myself, Brewer, etc. will be answering the questions as they come in, and then we'll just kind of try and pick some of those and mention them later on. I think this is a better, you guys get to get more tailored information this way, and we also don't have to spend too much time on this during the workday, so we can just focus more on actually making progress, which I think you guys want us to do as much as possible. I'm going to move on to my part now. So John has placed my slides up. We've got a lot of things. I actually mentioned this last week, I think. I was just conveying the idea that once EVM is launched, we have a lot of creative energy freed up to work on a lot of other different things. So, as I mentioned earlier, communications are being revamped. We have the new AMA format, which I've already discussed in enough detail. I think you guys get what it means. We're going to rejuvenate and reinvigorate the efforts in newsletters and project updates. I think they'll probably come monthly, at different times throughout the month, so that you'll have the newsletter one day, and then you'll have the project update where we update the ecosystem tracker, etc. That will happen at a different time throughout the month. We will have the next newsletter coming this week, and we'll also have Cherry Research. We'll also have these kind of initiatives will be given a new lease of life as well, now that we have some more creative energies to direct towards those. We have a network, a blog post about the network validators coming out in the next few days. I think by Friday, I would say. And we'll talk about tokenomics next week. People were inquiring about the website redesign. I might even enlist the help of some of you in Friday's office hour in discussing what kind of aspects of the design should be kept. So leave that with me. And maybe if you guys join me at, let me think now, I'm just thinking of timing. On Friday, I have the Twitter space with Gotbit at 3 p.m. Irish time. So that's 2 p.m. UTC. Yeah, 2 p.m. UTC. I have another call straight after that. So I think we might shoot for noon UTC on Friday, and we can have the Cherry Office Hour thing, and then myself and maybe Diego. Diego will pop in and he'll give us an update as to what's going on in the AVAX Summit in Barcelona, which he's attending, along with a couple of other Cherry team members. They're there to talk to our partners and to talk to people that we've been developing business with. So yeah, that'll be fun. The merch store, I just have to do a couple of things with that, and then we'll have that launching soon. The Cherry Privacy Drive will happen next week, I think. That's going to be fun, and I think it'll actually surprise some of the community members in terms of how useful Cherry is for privacy. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about that. In terms of business development, as I said, not only just the AVAX Summit, but also things that I'm attending and other people are attending this week. Herman also mentioned in the Italian community, he gave a preview, a sneak peek, a teaser about the meetups that we'll be actually hosting and running over the summer. Now that we're coming back into event season, all my Italian friends, you can expect to see probably one or even two meetups in Italy. We haven't done a meetup in Italy yet, but we have a very strong Italian community and a strong Italian dimension to the team. So we will be chatting to you guys at some point over the next few months with an event there. As Herman mentioned, there's certain aspects of the tooling and stuff that are being rolled out as the next phase of the EVM launch. That also ties into some of the things that our partners, etc., are looking for us to talk to them about and put forward, so that partnerships can be more easily forged. If a specific potential integration partner is, they want a certain thing, then we can kind of prioritize that, etc. As I mentioned earlier, the Twitter space will be on Friday at 2 p.m. UTC, which is 3 p.m. Ireland, UK, etc. time. And I think it's probably like 10 a.m. US time. Anyway, I said I'd keep everything under 5 minutes. I don't think I succeeded, but I don't think I was far off. In future, as I said, a lot of the questions that we'll discuss in the AMAs, you will pose to us in the groups, in the group chat, in the various group chats, and then we'll get to them, and then I'll pick out the highlights of those, and then just discuss those in the AMA going forward. But I think it's better to have things quicker. We'll have people from Cherish, people from Seedling, people from the different ecosystem projects will come in and work with us where relevant. If they have something important to say in the AMA, then yes. But I think that having them come in every week is probably not a great use of everyone's time. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there, and we're going to hand you over to John. He's going to do the quiz. I think all the quiz winners have been contacted. There are still two people, I think you know who you are, who I still have to straighten that out with. But I'll be reviewing everything and sending out payments on Friday. So on Friday, you guys will get the prizes that you expected before. And then the winners from today's quiz will also be given their prizes on Friday or maybe Saturday, depending on how quickly they respond to us. Thank you very much. I'll shut everything down now. Again, if you have any questions, let us know in the chat. Things are looking good for the project. We're very grateful for the devs to have been able to deliver all that technical progress. We're happy to be able to be, super busy at the moment. So everything will be moving quite quickly from now on, and the sky's the limit. And thank you all again for joining us today. And thank you for your continued support, as always. I'll leave it there, and we'll move over to John, and he will execute the quiz for us.